4 days, 4 friends, 4 bands, foreigner, foreign cars, 900 miles. Why don't you come along? We're taking a road trip. Stand by. Hey everybody, welcome back to RATTLECAN Fab Shop. Wrong channel. Hey everybody, welcome back to RATTLECAN Guitar Restorations. I am James, and recently I took a little road trip, and we've been meaning to do these annually, but because of the plague that shall not be named, it has not happened for 3 years, which makes me not the happy. As I alluded to in the cold open, this happened over the course of 4 days. It did involve 4 bands. It did involve 4 friends. A couple of us lived on the same street, but we all went to the same junior high school, high school. We were all in bands either together or in the same area, and the 4 of us have kept in touch. If you listen to the classic Rock Drops podcast, you will recognize Mike and Tuck. That's these 2 guys. And if you listen to the KISSTALK episode, there is one episode where actually all 4 of us get together and we discuss what we would think. We play a game, which is you have to construct a KISS set list, but once somebody picks a song, no one else can use the song. And there at the end, somebody choked. Interesting episode. I'll try to put a link for that in the sermon notes down beneath the comments. So anyways, it started out with the normal trip. Now, because of the way things that have happened, I was actually able to take Mrs. Rattlecan's vehicle, which is one of these little sporty twin turbo 6-cylinder rocket all-wheel drive cars, but it also gets twice as good a gas mileage as my truck does. So we were able to take that. We do the normal interstate type of stuff. I'm going from Dayton, Ohio, going down to Murfreesboro, which is a kind of a suburb of Nashville. It's 45 minutes out from Nashville. Anyways, that's where our hosts, Mike and Tammy, live. And we all got together, went out and grabbed something to eat, and then we went to a place called Marathon Motorworks, which is in Nashville, and it used to be a manufacturing facility, but now it's like a big retail, kind of a touristy place. There's restaurants, and I think there was a bourbon place down there, but the reason we were going is that they have a concert venue. If you're standing room, it holds about 1,800 people, and we were going to see a triple bill from the 80s. We were going to see 3 bands, Faster Pussycat, LA Guns, and the Tom Keifer Band. And if you're not familiar with that time period of music, Tom Keifer was the singer for a band called Cinderella, who's now got his own band, and he's out on his own. Just released an album. So anyways, we went there to see those bands, and the first thing that was going on was I realized I have a brand new phone, and I didn't really know how to operate it. So I was having some issues just trying to get some decent photos. And it's a phone. It's not a camera. I mean, it has a camera, but I mean, if I'm there on an assignment, I got a different set of gear. I'm just there to have a good time. So I got some so-so photos, and I would like to say on the last song of the Faster Pussycat set, a guitar player from LA Guns and a guitar player from the Tom Keifer Band all came out, and so at one point there were like 4 Les Pauls on stage. I can't even tell you how many thousands of dollars of guitars we saw between Les Pauls and Les Paul Juniors and SGs and Firebirds and Thunderbirds, and there was a beautiful Rickenbacker bass that was there. I think I did see one Fender, just a Fender P bass. Probably the most interesting guitar of the night was this. This is all conjecture on my part. What looks like a thin line Telly with a single coil in like the ashtray bridge setup, a humbucker, and a Bigsby in like a granite finish. I don't know what else to call it. It looked like it was made out of rock. Interesting setup. I will say that I've seen the first two bands numerous times throughout the years. They sounded very good. I've gone to see them, and they have not sounded very good at times in the past. I was pleasantly surprised. It was a great time. So we're trying to avoid the whole copyright strike thing. And so, I had a good time. I took a bunch of pictures. And then the funny thing is, since it's standing room only, you got four guys in their middle 50s. When the concert's over, walking away, looking like they have just run a marathon. Here is a short video. I got this off of Tom Keifer's Facebook page. So follow him, go to hashtag Keifer Band, follow them. But this was at the end of the night. This was the crowd that was there at Marathon Motorworks. And, not a bad place to go see a gig. I thought their VIP section was poorly placed. You're almost 90 degrees to the stage. It's a no-go for me. I mean, even if they did have bar stools and I could have sat down, it's just poor placement. I know they're trying to utilize dead space. So the next day we went out to eat for breakfast. I'll have to look up the name of the place that we go. We try to go there for breakfast at least once when we're there. It's there in Murfreesboro. Fantastic food. And then we went to a yard sale. I don't know if that's the right term for it. Anyways, Mike is a huge KISS fan. I mean, we're all KISS fans, but Mike is a collector. And so we were going to this yard sale because there's a guy that he knows that is divesting himself of his KISS collection. And it's a person of... he's a noteworthy guy if you're in the music industry. His name's Jeremy Asbrock. And if you've ever heard of the band The Talisman, he plays guitar there. If you've ever seen a Gene Simmons solo appearance, you've seen him. If you've seen Ace's solo appearances, you've probably seen him as well. So anyways, there's some stuff there that is not your ordinary type of KISS collectible. There was some stuff there that's fairly easy to get. There was some stuff there that was more unique that Mike was able to pick up. Here's what I picked up. I picked up this album, which I think is interesting because I don't even have a record player. But this was, as I was trying to describe to my wife, this is the first album that ever took me somewhere. I remember listening to this record, which was released in 1972, and I was probably listening to it in 73, maybe 74. So I'm like 7-8 years old, and I got a big set of headphones on with a big coily cord, going to a record player and listening to this and being amazed at the sounds that were coming out of this. And they were playing on the whole, there's footsteps walking from one side to the other, and I just remember listening to this and thinking, somebody made this. Somebody got paid to make this. Wouldn't it be cool to do that? So this is probably the earliest memory that I have of listening to something and thinking that would be really cool to do that. It's an excellent shape, as you can see. I was talking to Mike, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. He said, you put it on your bookshelf and you look at it, and then you pull it up on the internet and listen to it. And so, I guess that's a fair enough answer. So, anyways, so after that event, we went to a place called the Lane Motor Museum. And admission's it's not horrible. It's like $12 to get in or something like that. But apparently this is the largest collection of European cars in the United States. And after walking through there, I would go, yeah, because there's 130, 140 cars in here. And I knew a handful of them. And I'm kind of a car guy. There was just all kinds of stuff. I'd never seen a fabric-covered car before. A lot of tricycle cars, a lot of really cool design elements, kind of Art Deco looking stuff. So if you're in Nashville and you're a car person, you might want to check this out. And then the rest of that night, we just did fun stuff. At one point, Tuck pulled out his laptop, starts playing stuff, and we're like, it's basically Name That Tune, but to the hard rock and the metal songs of the 80s. Good times. Sunday, we ended up going to Chattanooga. Chattanooga's an hour and a half south of Nashville, and because we had an event to go to in Memorial Auditorium. Now, I had lived in Chattanooga from 5th grade up to the year after I graduated high school, and I had never been inside Memorial Auditorium. That time, the UTC Roundhouse had been built, so all the bands that were coming in wanted to fill the Roundhouse up. So we showed up for the VIP session for Foreigner. Now, what's interesting, and I wasn't really quite sure how I was going to feel about this, because the band that is touring as Foreigner at times has Mick Jones come and play. Mick Jones is the guitar player for Foreigner, and the only original member of the band that sporadically shows up due to either scheduling or health concerns. And so we're going to see a Foreigner cover band, and I'm kind of like, but the musicians that consist of that band are top-notch musicians. Two of them of note that kind of tie into this whole theme of the weekend. One of them is Jeff Pilson. He's the musical director for Foreigner now, and Jeff Pilson, if you don't know, was the bass player for Dokken, and Dokken was a huge band in at least with the people that I hung out with. Their first 3 or 4 albums were just tremendous. And another member that is in this band is the vocalist. His name is Kelly Hansen, and he sang for a band called Hurricane, which again, we're a group of guys who are really into kind of the minutia of the bands of this era, because there were a ton of bands that put out 1 or 2 albums and then they just kind of floated away. And so, fantastic voice. He's an excellent frontman. And so we went early for a VIP, kind of a meet and greet, and we got a little swag bag, and then we were able to go into the theater, and we sat right up front. And the band, first of all, we had Greg come out. Greg is the keyboard backline tech, and he dispensed some some notable facts and figures about the band and about the touring in general, and then did a great job, by the way. And then he came out, the band came out, and they sat down. And one of the things when we picked up our laminates and our little swag bag, this was my second record purchase, so now my record collection has increased by 200%. Is I bought the live recording of Foreigner 4 in Las Vegas, and with that you got 3 chances to win. They're raffling off a Telecaster that had been signed by the band, and this was a fundraiser that they're doing for Shriners Hospital. Great cause. I get a record. I could win a guitar because I need another guitar. But then you also submitted questions that the band would go through, and they would pick and choose what they were going to answer. So the band came out, and they talked a little bit about what was going on, what they were doing, and then they start going through the questions. And some of them are like, thanks for this song, we got married 30 years ago, and we danced to this song at our wedding. Yeah, that stuff's kind of okay. But of the 4 of us, the 4 horsemen that are there, 2 of our questions got picked, and one of them was from Tux, and he was, addressing the fact that all 4 or all 5 of the musicians, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all 6 of the musicians, numbers are hard, are accomplished musicians with, I believe he called it a rich personal history in music. And basically, what did it mean to them to play the Foreigner catalog? And they answered that question, and that was good for a few minutes of discussion. And then they read the question that I submitted, because I said, what do you love about playing small venues? And that led into a discussion between them about the difference between playing Anaheim Stadium and playing Memorial Auditorium, which holds, 6,000 people. And that was a good discussion. And because you were so close, and because, they're right there reacting, it was a neat experience. And I greatly enjoyed it. And Kelly had said the reason that they liked doing this format is that we ask questions that they don't get asked. They get interviewed all the time. And he said, they ask us the same questions, like, what do you expect the fans will see when they come to your show tonight? And he's like, I don't know, Foreigner songs. So he was pleased that we had submitted questions, and when he read mine, he said, I have never been asked this question by a journalist. And my thought was, well, it's because I'm a welder. So anyways, that and then afterwards we kind of filed out, and then by twosies and foursies we came up and we stood in front of the band, and we had our picture taken. And I think one of the funnier moments was that as we approached the stage, Tuck Watts goes, Kelly, I want to let you know that this is the annual meeting of the Kelly Hansen fan club, and we're all here this year. Well, there's only 4 of us, and he kind of laughed at that, and Pilson kind of, they all had a good go at that. And so here's us standing in front of the touring Foreigner band from 2022. So then we had to leave, and we stood outside and we drank expensive overpriced drinks and mediocre popcorn for supper, and then we filed in, and the show started, and for 90 minutes it was amazing. It was a great show. Consummate artists. Kelly Hansen is a fantastic front man. You recognize, at least the majority of the people there recognized every song that they came out and did. Because these are for, let's be honest, for if you're in your mid 50s, a little older, a little younger, Foreigner was a big deal. They were on the radio all the time. So that was a great show. And, I'm just trying to pump through pictures over here. Now, here's the pucker factor moment. And there were some great guitars too. Bruce was bringing out. There was a 335 he brought out. He had a white Strat. I mean, there were some fantastic instruments coming out. From both sides. Jeff Pilson, at the end of every show, after they hit those last notes, he takes his 72 P bass and throws it across the stage to his guitar tech, who has so far has caught all of them. At that point, I think we were, I don't know, the 22nd, 23rd, 24th show in a row or something like that. So he did that. That was the pucker factor moment, and one of the only times that I actually took video, as you're seeing playing over here.
Thank you, Chattanooga. Thank you, Tennessee. Thank you, rock and rollers. We hope you had half as much fun as we.
But then after that, we kind of drove back and, just again hung out and just enjoyed each other's company, as you should, when you have good friends. And then the drive back. Again, I took little country roads trying to get out of Murfreesboro and skip the stupidity that is Nashville. Because Nashville's a great city, but your traffic is just stupid. Stupid. I mean, mucho grande estupido. So, the scenic, 2-lane highways of Tennessee, it's a very nice drive. And then we hit the interstate, thought we were going to hit some weather, and we didn't. So that was 4 days. And had a great time. Saw some, I almost forgot this. Ed Trotter decides to bring up his Michael Sweet Signature Series Washburn acoustic guitar. And I'm here to tell you, that is a lovely sounding guitar. Visually, it's very nice. It's inlaid very nice. It's kind of a dark, dark color. The quilting on the wood was fantastic. But it sounded super bright. It had a great projection on it. So I may have to be on the hunt for one of those. That was a great guitar. So anyways, that was my 4 days, and my throat is now kind of paying the price for it. So if I could have any last words, support your local music scene. If it's big bands, if it's little bands, this has been a tough couple 3 years for live music. And whether it is, going down to, a crappy dive bar and seeing a band, or going to see a big touring band, or like Mrs. Rattlecan and I like to do, if you're going to see, touring Broadway shows at your, we go to a place called the Schuster Center, and, we see shows all the time. Support those people. It's not just the musicians. It's all the tech people behind there. It's the lady that works in the ticket office, and it's the people who got the contracts to, clean the place and sell you, overpriced drinks and crappy popcorn. And a lot of times it's about the experience more so than what you're getting material wise. So anyways, that was our time. And if you do something like that, I love seeing stuff like that. If you do a road trip, just send us, make a video about it, send it to us. I'd love to see it. Anyways, I'm James. This is RATTLECAN Guitar Restorations, and I'm now headed to PT because I have a confirmed partial tear of my left supraspinatus muscle. And we'll see how long it takes to get that fixed. Anyways, you guys have a great weekend. Cheers. Hey, if you like this episode of Rattle Can Guitar Restorations, you might want to check this video out as well. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, and if you'd like to help the channel grow, consider stepping over to our Patreon page and giving that a look. Y'all have a good weekend. Cheers.